Welcome to the 29th episode of the Perfectly Imperfect Spiritual Podcast. Today, I am so excited to introduce you to Marisol Colette, also known as the Fashion Therapist. Marisol Colette. She is a fashion consultant, a psychotherapist who helps clients align their style to their soul, but not only looking good, but feeling good too, giving them the courage to show up in the world in new and notable ways. By leading from the heart, Marisol brings a level of consciousness that's not incorporated in traditional styling. Her clients find a more authentic expression of themselves and are left feeling comfortable and confident in everything they wear so they can be comfortable and confident in everything they do. Marisol, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you so much, Marta, for having me. I love stuff like this. And it's so nice to connect with you. It's been a while.
Yes, I'm very excited. We'll see where this conversation takes us. I think I would like to start, if you don't mind, if you can tell a little bit about you, like what inspired you to combine psychotherapy with fashion, and how did this unique journey begin?
Yeah, I 100% believe that we should feel confident in everything we do. And one of the ways that I believe we can do that, as you mentioned, is through what we wear because it touches our body, it is physical, it is visual. So it is both something that other people can see and receive and something that we can feel and see. And so when I grew up in a family of artists. I went to art school for high school. And then I made a decision when I went to college between going to art school or going to a more traditional college. The college I went to didn't end up being traditional at all,
Mhm.
but I really felt compelled by the social work program. So by the helping profession. And it makes sense because I've flipped the script
Mhm.
that when I was leading initially in social work and working as a psychotherapist primarily, I was helping people. And now I do it through the form of art. So I'm still helping people to find themselves, to have this authentic expression, to feel comfortable in what they wear. And really, how it started, so I've had my business since 2015, so I'll have my 10-year anniversary next year.
Mhm.
And really, how it started was years ago, people would notice what I would wear. And they would say, "Oh my gosh, you always look so good or put together," or whatever they would say. And they wanted that for themselves. They didn't want to look like me or be me. They wanted
Mhm.
their own version of that. So I would go to their house and I would go through their closet for fun and for free or have them buy me dinner. And these were just friends. And they would say at the end of it, "I feel different. Like I love what you put together, but there's something about the way that it makes me feel."
Mhm.
And I had a girlfriend say to me, she's like, I can see the connection between you as a therapist and this fashion world and you as an artist. And so she put that bug in my ear, I don't know, 5, 8 years before I actually built my business. And it slowly percolated in me. And one day I left my very secure government job to go out on my own and be an artist.
I love it. So inspiring. So, do you think, and I think you've touched on that a little bit, so do you think the clothes we wear impact how we feel, like not just externally, but emotionally and spiritually? And I'm wondering whether, because I know you help people to align their style to their soul, like, would you be able to talk the viewers and listeners through the process, how it looks like, and why is it so transformative?
Yeah, so in more traditional personal styling or fashion consulting, the person has a particular the personal stylist or fashion consultant has a particular eye for the technical pieces of somebody's figure, the clothes, the brands, etc. I have that. What I also have is the psychotherapy background. So what I'm doing is I'm actually listening in a deeper way to how does this person really want to express themselves? So you mentioned when you were introducing me, the new and notable ways that people show up based on what they wear. And so instead of just what to wear or what not to wear, or what's good or wrong about your body, or how to, the word flattering does not exist in
Mm-hmm.
the work that I do, because it is not about clothes making you look better. It's about you feeling better based on what you're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, the technical pieces, the brands, the fits, etc. What fits our unique and individual bodies, beautiful just as they are, but also how then do I express myself? So for you, for example, I had
Mm-hmm.
the honor of getting to work with you on a photo
Yes.
shoot. In your photo shoot, you are working to impress upon the viewers, whether it's video or the still images, who you truly are. So we, of course, worked with a creative director on the particular colors that enhance your natural beauty, the ones that bring out these elements of yourself, both from a visual perspective and a personality perspective. But then when I met with you, I wanted to know who you really are and how you wanted to show up in the
Mm-hmm.
world, so that we could take these micro moments, these individual photos, and make sure that everybody has the best opportunity to really feel into who you are, set you apart from other people who might be in similar fields or who might have similar backgrounds to you, but also just sense in like, oh, I can feel some part of her. And that's really important because we have incredible missions in the world. When I work with folks, I'm working with people who are world shakers and movers, who want to
Mm-hmm.
make a big impact, who have a very heart-centered passion and business. And so it's very important to me that that come across. And we do that through the visuals.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Something that has just popped into my mind right now. I remember a couple of months ago, I was criticized by one of the followers, someone who has his own business, a man who was very judgmental towards me using professional photographs. And I'm very glad he left my Instagram. But it's really, well, working with you has really helped me as well. And I feel for many of your clients as well to really remove the societal like expectations and norms that people put on us. And I truly believe that we should wear whatever we want, and especially in terms of our Instagram, do whatever we want, whether we want to upload professional photographs with makeup or without. It's our choice. But could you talk a little bit about how you help your clients who have negative associations with their bodies or maybe style choices? Like, how do you help them with that?
Yeah. I'm super I love that question. I am super interested to hear, did you understand what he meant by that? Like, what did it feel fake to him? Is that what he was expressing? What was the criticism?
Well, in general, he did a video later on to all women, business owners, that women should not wear makeup and they should not upload any professional photographs. Yeah, so that was his opinion. And I truly believe that using professional photographs and having nice clothes that really convey that intangible aspect of yourself, it's something that can really empower you and add additional value, especially in terms of having our businesses and marketing, because how are we going to convey it? But yeah, it was an interesting view.
Yeah, great. All attention is good attention. So I can appreciate people's opinions. I have a sense that I understand a little bit of where he's coming from, and it's none of his business.
Mhm,
Right. So I hope that you hear this, sir.
mhm.
It is none business. What anybody does with their body, what anybody wears, and the choices that any individual makes about themselves. So what I think I might be hearing is that there's this common misconception that clothes and looks equal vanity, that we're putting on a facade because we're getting dressed up or we're wearing makeup, that it's not the true version of
Mhm.
ourselves. So I'm putting words into his mouth, kind of giving him the benefit of the doubt, and anybody else who feels that way for that matter. He's really playing into the patriarchy while thinking that
Mm-hmm.
he's encouraging you not to play into the patriarchy,
Mm-hmm.
right? Saying like, these are social standards, this is a facade, give us your real self. And he's probably thinking that he's doing women a favor by saying
Mm-hmm.
something like that. But he's playing into the patriarchy because the patriarchy is designed to impact, in particular, both men and women, but it has a particular effect on women that they are never enough. They're never doing it right. They should always be doing something different, that somebody else has control over that, and that somebody else's opinion matters more. It also impacts men because they have the same social standards. They should be tall and strong and healthy and handsome, right? Like it doesn't work for anyone. So for anybody to be commenting on anybody else's body is a damn shame. Okay. How do we make people feel good in their body?
Mm-hmm.
The question that you started with. The everybody comes to me with, I mean, I don't know that I've ever experienced a client in my almost 10 years of this and before when I was just doing it as a side hobby who doesn't have the thing that they say, like, but there's this one part of my body. I've had that experience too, right? Like, but there's this one thing. Like, I love myself, but there's this one thing. Well, first of all, that's objectification. So that's objectification of ourselves. We don't objectify other people. None of us would say, "Oh, yes, I love to objectify other people. I love to, criticize and comment people's bodies," right? But we do
Mm-hmm.
it in our head and we do it as a comparison to ourselves. So when we objectify ourselves, we're really breaking it down to parts and pieces, right? I don't like my stomach, my arms. I mean, there's always something, right? And that's okay that we feel that way. That is definitely a product of the societal expectations that we're supposed to look a certain way, which is, I know that people know this, but is this like particular look of the expectation is the top is like the is 1% of the population, right? And we've just really capitalized on that. And so everybody's comparing themselves to 1% of the population, which means
Mm-hmm.
that they're going to win, which means that a lot of people don't show up as the face of their business. And in the world, I've had people say to me, I really couldn't even go out with my friends because I couldn't figure out what to wear. I just felt so bad and everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really sad experience to me that you can't show up in your business, that your business, this thing that you believe in so deeply, this part of you that is so authentic and true to yourself, you are struggling to show up for that thing just because you don't like the way you look or you haven't lost the 5 pounds. I mean, the term 5 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
it's always 5 pounds. It's like you lose 5 pounds, I have to lose 5 pounds. I have to lose 5 more pounds. It's always 5 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I hear those words, I'm like, yeah, this is the 5 pounds that everybody thinks they need in order to be able to show up in the world. I say that you're beautiful just the way you are.
Mm-hmm.
You are beautiful and perfect just the way you are. You are enough, you have enough, you do enough.
Mm-hmm.
And the most important thing is that you get out there. You get out there, you do your thing. You get out there and you do your thing. When I had my son in 2021, I'm 5 foot, so I gained a ton of weight. I don't know how much it was like 45 or 50 pounds, which is a lot for somebody who's 5 foot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when I had him, I actually intentionally gained weight because I was struggling to produce milk. And so I was putting on weight in order to um, help milk production, like high
Mm-hmm.
calorie things like milk cookies, for example. And it was very important to me that I be able to up my milk production for him. So that was the priority. A lot of people do the whole bounce back thing. They're very
Mm-hmm.
celebrative. I will never forget when my body started naturally letting the weight go from pregnancy. I did not do anything to try to enforce that.
Mm-hmm.
I just let it do its natural thing. It took years to get to this where I am now, which is kind of my natural state. And I will never forget, I was on a walk and somebody I very much respect who lives in my neighborhood said, "Oh my gosh, you look so great. You're so tiny."
Mm-hmm.
And my heart broke for her and for
Mm-hmm.
all women who have been told that before. and who believed that was the goal that I was going for. And my
Mm-hmm.
reply to her, very kind, because I didn't want to shame her, was, yeah, I've loved my body this entire time. I'm totally happy with where it's at any point. Do I understand that people are going to appreciate, notice, and like me more in a thinner, smaller, straight-sized body? Yeah, I get that there's privilege in that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just very kindly let her know that I was happy with wherever it was and kind of divert the attention, whether she heard it or not. I say that to say that that's my own lived experience. Now, I also live primarily in a straight-sized body, so I have tons of privilege. I am white passing, even though I'm Latinx. But, there is tons of privilege. And I also know that I've put clothes on folks of all ages. I mean, up to the oldest client I think I've had is she's like 86, maybe older, I don't know, and young women as well, right? I currently get to shop with a 6-year-old. She's about to be 7.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she just turned 7. And, I love it. And then I shop for my kid and I let him pick his own clothes. And he loves shoes. His favorite things are bulldozers, excavators, and shoes. I was actually doing a fitting, and I'll pause, because I'm going on and on, but I was doing a fitting for a client who was flying in from Maine to where I live in North Carolina. And I had all these clothes out, and he comes in and he sees them on the racks and he goes, it's a birthday party because we have all these clothes. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's raised, in part by me, so I love it. But, I just let him express himself. I'm more interested in how people express themselves. And one of the women that I worked with in the same program that I worked with you, and she said, I always felt like the ugly duckling, and now I feel like the swan. And she's a woman of color. She lives in a larger body. She just didn't think she just thought she was excluded from any kind of possibility of feeling good in her own skin and wearing clothes that actually fit and felt good.
Mm-hmm.
That being the outcome could bring me to tears any day.
Yeah, it's such an important conversation we're having. And even for me personally, you know that it was a very difficult choice to make to really even go for that program. So I really wanted to go through rebranding and I really wanted to work on my brand image. But then I knew that there would be that photo shoot. And when you were helping me to prepare it, I was at my biggest in terms of body size, and I could still hear the voices of my parents, my abusive ex-husband about expectations of how I needed to look in a particular way. So and people don't know it, that there were so many tears behind that photo shoot. And it was so difficult, but I made the choice because I work with women as well to help them to develop their intuition, but also I help them so they can allow themselves to be seen and heard the way they are. And then I made that choice that it's time now because I'm not going to wait for when I lose weight or for when my body feels safe. Now is the time to find the best clothes with your help in which I'm going to feel comfortable and confident. And then it's a part of process of falling in love and really accepting yourself for who you are. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and I guess encourage anyone to not wait
That's,
when wanting to find a stylist or maybe looking for some clothes because yeah, the time is now.
I loved that you just said fall in love with yourself. I love that. I mean, there's nothing greater than love. And so to love others is one thing, but to love yourself entirely is like falling in love. Like I love the idea of falling in love. It's like we can say like, oh, I love myself, right? But like to fall in love, because we know when we fall in love with somebody else, it is an extravagant experience. It's 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 a transformative experience. I hesitate to use the word high because I don't want it to sound like, it's just like a fleeting like drug-like experience, but it's one of the deepest, greatest feelings. Now we deepen in our love over time for our children, etc., for ourselves, for others, but to fall in love is such a beautiful experience. And I'm so glad that you did that photo shoot. And I'm so grateful and honored to be able to walk with you through that process. I had my kid in April 1st of 2021, and I too felt a big transformation in myself. And I wanted to record a video to put on my website. And I did that 3 months, April, May, June, July. I did that 3 months postpartum.
Hmm.
I mean, I was leaps and bounds larger than I am now. It was like, it was such a, and I also had a short, like a super short haircut, a pixie haircut that
Hmm.
was growing out. So
Hmm.
it was not, I mean, I'd made it look the best that I could, my hair, but like it wasn't a particularly good look. It was an in-between look. And I
Hmm.
said, I was like, the time is now. And I spent a lot of money on that to just show up as I was. And I only recently re-recorded it just because I turned 40 and I'm now having a new kind of sense of self with regard to branding. So yeah, the time is now. Totally. That was a
Hmm.
conscious decision. Even as my body
Definitely.
changed more, I was like,
Love.
this is who I was and people will appreciate this.
Hmm. And the interesting fact, because I remember when those photographs came out, and I could see so much pain in my eyes, so much trauma. But the minute I uploaded them, people started commenting, "You look so beautiful." But that's not how I see myself. Like I could see what's behind, what was inside going on, like the trauma, the abuse, and so much pain. So that's also interesting,
Mm.
how we perceive ourselves, how we
Yeah.
look, and how other people do. Yeah, so that's another thought that I've got. So do you have any simple tips or exercises for people to identify what styles resonate with their true selves? Is there anything they can do?
Yeah. Briefly want to speak to what you just said.
Hmm.
Your courage is what came across in the photos, your courage and authenticity. So while you were kind of, micro analyzing, others were seeing the essence of you because you really, like you said, the time is now. So you showed up. One of the things I do, even when I'm not feeling super confident, is I show up. I just show
Hmm.
up. It's a little bit at times like fake it till you make it. But nobody sees what I see. So, like, if I'm going to start my period soon and I'm just feeling kind of low energy, I don't have much estrogen, I don't have that vibrancy and
Hmm.
that glow, and I'm feeling kind of cranky and all. I just show up and I'm not pretending to be somebody else, but I'm not going to hide. Um, because I'm embarrassed about, some feeling that I have, or I don't feel very confident. Like I'm not going to hide myself ever. So I would
Hmm.
encourage people to practice coming out of hiding. And sometimes that means not wearing black all the time.
Hmm.
The color black is a beautiful classic color. It is nice to have in our closet. It's great for evenings, and elegance, but it's not actually the only color that we can wear. So, for example, you are wearing the most elegant color that is perfect for
Hmm.
you right now, right? Like that's your version of black, and it's
Hmm.
so, the luminescence on it in relationship to your face and your hair, etc., is so compelling. I mean, you look incredible. And you're choosing not to hide because you're like, I'm dressed up. This is my podcast. I'm putting time and energy. I'm putting my respect into this. And so there we can see that you look beautiful. So tip number one, don't just default to black.
Hmm.
Tip number two, genuinely consider your sizing. Most everyone I know chooses clothes that are too large for them. They
Hmm.
think they're bigger than they are. They're concerned that if it fits differently, it's going to show off parts of themselves. They'd rather wear baggy clothes. The reality is the bigger the clothes, it does not make you look smaller. It in no way makes you look smaller. Having clothes that fit make you look like yourself, and that's the best part. So finding, truly playing with sizing and recognize, am I wearing clothes that are too big? And you'll know because by the end of the day, they're sagging. And you'll know because you also have this felt sense of, I'm hiding. You'll continue to feel throughout the day that you're not enough. If you wear clothes that fit, you'll start to feel more confident. And the third thing is I have a, a freebie on my website called the Stretch Your Style Simply Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And what I do with that is it's a 5-day challenge that comes with videos and little journal prompts that in maybe videos, maybe just emails, but it encourages you to do one thing a day that you would not normally do. And I want you to keep it small because the importance of keeping it small is so that we don't overwhelm our system. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're not working with me, you're doing this on your own. The first thing that happens when we go shopping on our own and it's really uncomfortable for us is we immediately get overwhelmed and we either leave the store with nothing or we rush out with a bunch of stuff that we don't like and it causes a lot of chaos in our nervous system. So if you're not working with me, then you have to keep it slow. You have to titrate it. So every day it's like wear a color that you wouldn't normally wear a accessory that you wouldn't normally wear. And so little by little, you start to go out in the world with these little things that maybe people notice, maybe they don't, but you go out in the world and you're doing something different. It starts to change your neural pathways. And that's
Mm-hmm.
some of the psychology of getting dressed.
Mm-hmm. I love it. And do you have a personal mantra or philosophy that guides how you help people feel seen and celebrated in their own skin? Something that maybe the viewers and listeners can try for themselves.
Yeah, I said it before, you are enough,
Hmm.
you have enough, you do enough.
Hmm.
And the other is you have to get dressed every day, so why not enjoy it?
Hmm. I love it. And what's one thing that you have learned about yourself while helping clients to transform their lives and their souls? And yeah, I'm wondering.
Yeah. I had a client say to me recently, she said, "You're the queen, wear the crown." And what I took that to be is on like trusting myself in the decisions. So it's a collaborative process because I'm checking in with my clients. How do you feel in this? I know what I see. I can see you light up. I think this looks great, but how do you feel? But there
Hmm.
comes a point where I allow too much of the client's input and I'm cautious to say that because again, it's not this is not my life. This is your life. But I am trained enough to hear when people are allowing that old voice, that trauma-informed voice, that insecure voice to come through and second guess themselves. And at that point, I need to just start calling the shots and saying
Hmm.
either we're going to pause until you're fed, until you've slept,
Hmm.
until more conversation. We're going to pause because we're in overwhelm and you're second guessing yourself and just be very crisp and clear. Or if I see something, say, I understand, I hear what you're saying, but I want you to know what I see, feel, and hear.
Hmm.
So my own
Hmm.
confidence to do that, to say, I'm going to go ahead and override this because I can hear where we are from a
Hmm.
psychology perspective.
Hmm. I love it. Thank you. And finally, could you share with the viewers and listeners how they can work with you and where they can find you?
Yeah. So my name is Marisol. The last part of my name is Sol, which means sun. So my business is called Soul Reflection, and it is spelled SOL. So it's a play on words, Soul Reflection, which of course also means our soul. So my Instagram handle is at Soul Reflection, not reflections. My website is www.soulreflection.com. My email is marisol@soulreflection.com. You can find my Facebook. I have a business Facebook, but I'm much more active on my personal, which is Marisol Colette. Colette. I'm sure people can see it here, but you'll also write it in the notes for people who
Yes.
are And yeah, just reach out. Send me an email, Marisol at soulreflection.com. Just send me an email and I would love to answer questions. I have a free 20-minute consultation. We can talk through what your needs are and your goals with the intention that we would potentially work together. But I'm happy to just give you more tips in that 20 minutes. You can use that time however you want. We'll talk as fast as we can.
Thank you. And finally, what's the last message or anything that you would like to leave the viewers and the listeners with?
Yeah. Go for it, babe. And I mean, babe, across the entire gender spectrum. Just go for it. Like you deserve to show up. You deserve to have everything that you want and need. And this is a huge part of it. Yeah, this is as important as, I mean, again, we have to get dressed every day, so why not enjoy it? This is as important as what you eat, what you do with your family, who you love, how you spend your time. This is just as important. It's not about vanity, it's about feeling good in what you wear.
Thank you. Well, Marisol, thank you so much for sharing, well, your wisdom, but also your heart,
Hmm.
and so much insights with all of the viewers and listeners. I really appreciate you agreeing to come to the podcast. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you and goodbye to all of the viewers and listeners. Goodbye. Thank
Bye,
you.
y'all.